But then the fucking, prodigal son, the holy grail, the coolest shit ever. It's like Metroid Prime 4 is coming. Like, no. Like, yeah.
And that's it.
And it's just like, that's all they said. I don't care. I hope it's good. I don't know if it will be. I don't know if it'll live up to any expectations.
I don't even know if it'll need to be.
I don't even care. I'm gonna buy it. I need to buy that shit because it's like at this point I'm now playing through the Metroid Prime games myself after watching them for like a decade.
Yeah.
So now I actually can play it at the same time, which is the coolest. It's like that didn't exist before. So.
I'm really interested to see what they do because a couple of these game franchises like The Legend of Zelda, it's been a while since a good game's come out, and then you have something like Breath of the Wild come out that
I heard really good stuff.
Really, it's gonna change the way a lot of games are made. I think. Like I'm certain that Metroid's not gonna take a chapter out of that and make it like a weird open world thing. But
no, I doubt it.
I feel like we're getting to the point where like it sounds harsh saying, but good shit's coming out now. Like game designers are finally like, oh, you want this? We can do that, and they're making what we want. Like there was that weird high school phase where, at least for me, like I converted to PlayStation where it was all first person shooters, and it's like like it's fun to play with your friends, but this isn't what I want.
It's also the fact is like there was that period of those were the games that
sold.
Yeah, and it's also of we went through a bit of a gimmicky phase of here's the motion controls. Here's how it works. Okay, now the Wiimote just has an addition. You plug it into the bottom. Now, it tracks your motion a little bit better.
Motion Plus.
And then, now here's the new Wiimotes that have that built in. And now here's the Wii U gamepad and the controllers for that. And then now we have the Switch, which I feel like, I don't have it personally, but I assume it has, a little bit more refined motion control
significantly
stuff.
so.
Like the little
the marble thing.
Yeah, legitimately. Yeah. I have a feeling like that's a lot
talks about that
better, built. So we're getting to that point where, technology is catching up to the ideas that people have. Like people are now it's surprising that now a thing that people are just casually talking about. Like, yeah, self-driving cars is probably going to be a thing pretty soon. We're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay, well, before you go off on that too much, and I promise we'll touch on the third generation of Pokemon here in a second.
The best generation.
But you sent me a news clipping.
I did.
Where, if you'd like, I don't know if you remember it too much, or if you'd like me to say what it was.
It had been, so when I sent it to you, and by the way, the topic was, a few podcasts ago, we talked a significant amount about virtual reality, and then towards the end of the podcast, we had referenced some potential uses for virtual reality outside of the world of gaming.
It's called Futurist. Go check it out. Go on, Anthony.
Right, that was that podcast, and the application that I talked about in that podcast was virtual reality with education, but a few weeks ago I came across an article that was from a surgeon that had separated conjoined twins using virtual reality.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember the details, but I sent that article to Noah just a couple of days ago. And I don't know if you had a chance to read through it.
I did. I watched the video and then read the article afterwards, but essentially they used VR to recreate these conjoined twins where they were. I'm not sure if it was exactly the organs. There was something.
Did they do
something?
It
was like
scan of them, or is it just like
they put on VR goggles and recreated They also, they had, because 3D printers are a thing, they 3D printed, it was like their ribs were meshed together, and I think their hearts in some way were, touching or, somewhat connected. But, it was insane to, first off, for someone to be able to 3D print conjoined twins' hearts that someone recreated in a virtual reality system.
So did they do, a CT scan or an MI scan?
Yeah.
I don't know the terms that are supposed to be used for whatever scan, but I assume they did that, got, a 3D scan of this heart, or the, conjoined, body, and then put that into a virtual design, I guess?
Yes, which got 3D printed, but also,
Wait, they 3D printed it for what? So they could do it,
do
it, and then they also did it with the 3D glasses?
I think they 3D printed it for, the news thing that they were oh, here it is.
Well, I believe what they did was they just essentially used that to be able to recreate it in three-dimensional space in virtual reality.
There was a big, boardroom, essentially, with all these doctors in there, and they all had VR goggles on, and they were in an abyss with this conjoined organ just floating there, and they're like, this is what we're gonna do. And they got up and personal, and they had, I don't think that they had them at the time, but they described like they'd use like Wiimote-esque things to be like, this is where we're going to do the incision.
Well, yeah.
This is, like,
well,
essentially
they
practiced.
HTC Vive. That's how they
Yeah,
set up. It's got the hand things.
Yeah, they practiced this procedure and planned this procedure using virtual reality, and it was a success. These two little girls were separated, and everything was fine. And like, to just even think about that,
they ran
ridiculous.
through it in VR, and then they did it in real life.
They ran through it in VR, practiced it on dummies, like 5 to 10 times, and then did the actual surgery successfully.
That's the other thing, was like, you were focusing on VR, but you kind of just threw in 3D printing. 3D printing is going to be a big fucking thing, I think.
It's still, I mean, it's
that kind of thing of, it's starting to get really big to the point where it's easier to do, it's cheaper to do, and more kind of easily accessible. It's interesting to think, like, in 15, 30 years, self-driving cars, 3D printing, VR, all that stuff is going to be like, that's old news.
So, well,
that's
I mean,
old news. We got that.
That's a thing now. Like,
that's what I'm saying, but like, by that point, people are like, dude, who needs to go in a car anymore? I'm an Abra, and this dude touched me, and now I'm over here.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, not to bring back up Jim's, but you know Jim Campbell?
Yeah.
My dad's buddy?
Yeah, his Soup Jim.
His Soup Jim?
Campbell.
Oh, fuck you.
Jim of the Soup.
Jim of the Soup.
No, his car that he has, he's like, you want to see something cool?
Super Jim.
We were driving to the Expo Center for a gun show, and he's like, you want to see something cool? I'm like, yeah, sure. Do whatever. Show me. And he took his hand off the wheel, and he's like, watch this. And just, like, sat there, like, took his foot off the gas, and his car was going. And I was like, Jim, what are you doing? He's like, I'm merging. And, like, his car, on its own, like, there was cars next to us, waited for there to be a gap between the cars, turned on the signal itself, and merged over. And I was like, what kind of fucking robot do you have me sitting in?
What kind of car was it?
I can't remember, but it was
truck?
terrifying for him to just like take his hand off the wheels and be like, watch this, and just like have it do it on its own.
For those that don't know, Jim is a fairly older man. What was he in?
He was in Vietnam. He served over in Vietnam.
And he has one leg.
Not from Vietnam.
But he's also, he bullshits a lot. So as somebody who's met him a couple times, if I had seen him do this, I wouldn't be certain that he's not making this up. And I would be terrified that he's just like, watch this. And then he's just like, what? And then we just merge into a, like, oncoming traffic. Like, right, it's the other car I drive. It's my Model T on Sundays.
So to go back to, like, this futurist talk that we somehow got into, like, self-driving cars are a thing. Like, Google has self-driving cars. They're the ones that create Google Maps, where, like, you literally can be on the street.
Well, they have all those cameras. They are built with all these multi-facing cameras. They know everything that's going on around them.
3 years ago, like when we first were getting into college, when freshmen... No, I guess it was like our second semester, I think.
Yeah.
I started watching Markiplier a whole lot. And this was like right before he started getting really big, I believe. And he was still doing kind of like horror games.
5'7".
Huh?
He was like 5'10", maybe.
You shut your...
I'm sorry, guys.
You're fine, but this is when the Oculus Rift was just like 3 years ago. It was starting to become a thing, and I remember like it was a simple game of like you're a dolphin in a classroom, and the game was leaning over to cheat on a test, and then like picking the right answer, and people were like, "This is the new thing. This is gonna be like the greatest thing ever," and then like. It evolved into like very simple horror games where it's just like total darkness and you're walking through hallways trying to get to the right place. Like that was like 3 years isn't that long of a time, and now we're recreating, like we're practicing surgeries before we do this. Like it's gonna be weird to think that like when I'm 30, like there's gonna be some fucking crazy shit.
Well, yeah, you think about it. It's kind of like going back off of what Anthony was talking about earlier with how. The classes he's taken, a lot of the stuff is built on top of itself. Yeah. It's almost exponential at this point.
Oh, you say almost exponential. So 2 days ago,
yes,
I was at one of my best friends and high school roommates, college roommates. His name's Matt, and he and I graduated from Ohio State together. Go Buckeyes! And he is now an incoming first year at Ohio State Medical School.
Oh damn!
And I was at his white coat ceremony, which is the ceremonial. You get your as the name suggests, you get your white coat, and that is your
cool.
Yeah, and that's your first day of medical school. And he had orientation that morning, and at that orientation, they talked about back in the 1960s, the rate at which it took medical knowledge to double was 50 years. It is currently 5 years, and by the time he graduates med school in 2021, the rate at which medical knowledge will be doubling will be 72 days.
Jesus Christ.
There's a statistic like that, except about like computers and how like the size of like circuits are getting smaller and smaller exponentially by like the time. So I'm gonna look that up real quick because I want to get it right.
It's just so weird to think that all of these things are happening in our lifetime, because when we were born, like I'm a 90s kid, like technology really wasn't a thing. Like it was like the beginnings of it, but like I don't know if y'all remember. I remember playing fucking Oregon Trail on the big tube computers. Just like the static screen when you turn it on, and it kind of like sizzle and like spark you a bit. Like it was really janky technology. Like there really wasn't much that we had, and to think that like okay, it's still 20 years later, but like you're saying, like technology is just changing so quickly.
Oh yeah.
Like there's new phones every year because they're obsolete. Maybe that's Apple and Android not putting
also a little bit of like planned obsolescence.
Well, I'm sure that too, but like even still, like I remember when the iPod was fucking huge. I got my first iPod Touch engraved because I was like, this is awesome, like this is the coolest thing. And then like now I don't even know what iPhone we're on now. Like
we're on iPhone 7 is what I have.
iPhone 7.
8's coming out in November.
It's like that's fucking ridiculous how like quickly they're coming out now. They've removed the audio jack. There's no audio jack on that one? How do you feel about it?
I hate it.
Really? Okay, so that's something you think they'll bring back?
I know it's not coming back yet. Because the whole purpose of doing that was it reduces the surface area that's exposed to the internal hardware.
Yeah.
So it's the newer phones are water resistant, not like waterproof, but they are water resistant, and that is accurate. That actually is accurate. And part of how they were able to accomplish that was by removing access to the internal hardware.
Right.
Didn't they also make it thinner?
They did.
Because like the phones were pretty much restricted by the width of that hole for the headphone jack. But now like all they have is that like super tiny charging port. So like that's as they can get as they need to.
Well,
it's still fitting all that stuff.
What they're starting to do, and I believe like either the 8 could potentially do this, or like future phones after that will. But I know what the Apple Watch already does is it can get wet and it can get water in there, but then there's a setting where it will literally eject water out of it.
I remember hearing about that.
So it can kind of take water up to a certain point, and then like you can press there's a setting on it where you can press something and it will just eject the water out of itself.
That sounds like a college student with beer. I mean, you just get so much of it at some point, you just gotta
eject it out to keep going.
That's right. So Gen 3.
I was going to say real quick before we go there, the thing I was talking about was Moore's Law. It's a computing term which originated in the 1970s. It says, since the 1970s, the power of computers has doubled every year and a half, yielding computers which are millions of times more powerful than their ancestors of a half century ago. Law states that processor speeds or overall processing power for computers will double every 18 months. So, you know how we were saying, like, we get like a new phone every year. That science kind of makes sense with this law that they're technically getting faster absolutely every year. And, it might just be the fact that it's now however many years old, but if you boot up like an old iPhone, iPod, or whatever, it's a little bit slow, which again, it could be from it being
a great
older.
example of that is my dad has an iPad that's a couple of years old now.
Yeah.
Like, and when he got it, it was new, it was a gift from his girlfriend, and it was like wonderful. The thing runs like a piece of shit now. Like it's super slow. You can hardly even do anything on it because it's technology that's about 2 years outdated.
Yeah. Well, and in some ways, I feel like a lot of companies put like essentially a kill switch And where it's
Oh,
like,
they do.
It's
They
like
absolutely do.
after 2 years, this ain't gonna run the way it used to, and you're gonna need to buy
It's
a
a
new
line
thing.
of code that says, like, if date greater than this, fuck shit up.
Well, I mean, but really, like, I charged, like, when I found my iPod Touch, I charged it up all the way. It lasted 15 minutes and it was done.
Well, batteries
Like,
also, I think batteries are a little bit of an interesting thing too, because those are another thing that are growing. Like, it's kind of behind the scenes. It's not a big thing people really think about, but they're growing, like, the technology with them, especially when you think of things like Tesla cars and all that. Those are ran on a bunch of just little batteries, just like a ton of them stuck in like a big box.
I also actually used to work in a battery store, and the capacity. So that's yes, capacity is definitely changing in the way that they're functioning is improving over time, but also like if you don't. The best way I ever heard it described is batteries are a lot like people, in that they need to be exercised regularly, but not overworked.
No, I don't
the best way they tell you to charge your phone is charge it up to 100%, and as soon as it hits 100, you take it off the charger and you let it run all the way down.
Yeah.
That's the way to keep your battery life longer. But if a battery is dead for a prolonged period of time, or if you always have it on the charger switch, then the capacity shrinks.
So do you unplug your phone before you go to bed?
I do, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so what I'll do, and the battery on my iPhone 7 is pretty reliable. So like if I...
Endorsed by Apple.
Yeah.
Please.
Hashtag sponsored.
Hashtag ad.
But so what I'll do is I normally read or listen to some podcasts or something before I go to bed, and so I'll have my phone charging while I'm doing that, and it gets up to 100%, and then that's the point where I'll go to sleep, take it off the charger. I'll wake up and I'm still probably at like 95%, which is good enough to get me through the day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so yeah, I generally don't charge my phone through the night. I will generally take it off the charger before I go to bed.
Huh. I normally, it kind of depends. I like to fall asleep to something, normally. I don't like total silence. Like, I'll throw on a random animated video or
a Billy
just
Mays
a podcast
commercial.
Or a Billy Mays commercial.
That's
cry
the most
myself to
soothing
sleep.
voice I've ever heard. Oh, God. Forever in our dreams, Billy.
Rest in peace, Billy. so I couldn't say that.
Sorry, Ben.
Oh,
Your
shit. So
child's
third
dead.
gen. God damn it. Third gen Pokemon Anthony.
Blaziken.
So I
Really?
have no...
Sorry.
Right away?
No, I mean, it's just that, for me, that's the nostalgia thing of...
That is... Yeah, Blaziken, I think, is the poster child of that generation.
Yeah, definitely.
But!
Oh.
I like this. I want to hear it.
So I have a three-way...
Wait.
Whoa.
Oh,
okay.
Gen 3. Gen 3, guys.
So kind of sticking with my basically I have a type.
Uh-huh.
This phrasing is still going towards that three-way.
Oh. We're on our way.
We'll lay it on.
Wait,
us.
can I guess them?
You absolutely can.
Oh, God.
Aggron?
It is.
Salamence?
No.
No.
He's up there. He's up there, but he's
Metagross?
Yeah, that's one of the that's one of the ones.
There's another big bulky guy.
There's the walrus. I don't think it's the walrus.
It's not the walrus.
Fuck. Is it a starter?
No, it's not.
Shit. There's another big bulky guy.
There is,
Fucking...
and I know you know who it is.
Oh no.
Give me... Oh, shit.
Flygon.
No.
Fuck!
No. I got this. Give me a second.
You can't look. You gotta guess.
Oh, no. I just don't remember the names.
He is a big, bulky, powerful guy, though.
Oh, it's the Metagross.
Armaldo.
Metagross?
I actually do like him, but no.
Fuck. Okay.
So, okay.
Is it not Metagross?
It's Slacking.
Oh,
that's
shit.
a good one.
Okay.
It's Slacking.
Did you already say Metagross? Because Metagross is good.
Yeah.
I
So,
should've-
my three
Metagross
favorite,
is up there for me, too.
Yeah, my
I love
three
him.
favorite from that generation are Aggron, Metagross, and Slacking.
Slacking.
Damn.
Slacking, which is the highest stat non-legendary Pokemon in the game.
Except you have to deal with him loafing around every now
Which
and
is,
again.
it's a nightmare. So I'll tell you the moveset that I gave him. I gave him like I gave him Strength. He was the HM for that, but it's also a decent enough move that
It's
it
also a
works.
stab move because he's normal type.
It is. So it actually ended up working pretty well. I gave him some fighting type like punch move. I don't remember what it was. But I also gave him Thunder and Blizzard. Oh no, I gave him Earthquake, Thunder, and Blizzard.
That's so
on
cool.
top of Strength.
He fucks them.
He does.
He
but,
fucks.
But here's the problem, because I recently just finished my playthrough of Omega Ruby.
Oh, how was that?
It was a blast. And actually, here after we get done with this generation, I'll tell you what my team was for it. But the absolute nightmare was when I got to Drake in the Elite Four, who's the dragon guy.
Uh-huh.
And I throw out Slacking immediately because him and Swampert were my two that knew Blizzard.
Right.
And Slacking, his offense, defense, everything are nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And the nightmare was if Blizzard missed.
Oh, yeah.
Because he misses, and then I get attacked, and then
he's slacking off.
Because of his ability, which is truant, and his stats are so high that they have to justify it with making him wait every other turn to attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would miss, get attacked, wouldn't be able to attack for a turn, get attacked again, and then, God forbid, I miss again with Blizzard.
Yeah.
That actually happened once, and it almost screwed me out of beating Drake. I survived, and then had to revive Slacking, because, I'm sorry, but 4 attacks from a Salamence, he wasn't still standing.
Of course. I mean, it's fucking Salamence. Which, by the way, I like his Mega Evolution.
I do too. I think it's really cool. Kind of the airplane looking
spacecraft.
Yeah, he puts in his arms.
And you said Blaziken for yours, right?
I'd have to go with him. I do really like Metagross, and I do really like a bunch of them, honestly. Like that whole generation.
That's a great generation.
Because that was one of the only generations where I caught or saw everybody.
Oh, yeah. They were all worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's weird for me. This is the generation I played the most. I
bought 2 games from this generation.
Yeah, my internal battery ran dry on my Ruby
That's my
version.
Sapphire right now. Which doesn't matter for the most part. Apparently, for Sapphire, the one I just booted up the other day, it said internal battery ran dry. Date-based things
don't apply anymore,
that
basically.
doesn't matter.
But I'm looking through this gen, and there's honestly not a Pokemon in here that I really enjoy.
There's Gen 3?
Yeah, they're cool sprites, they've got great move sets, but none of them really, I'd say Mighty Ina, but I'm not even too crazy about him.
Well, and you've always been a dog Pokemon guy, I think, haven't you?
Well, not always. I mean, dog and dinosaur, I guess, but still, I don't know. I don't think a lot of I could still go through Gen 3 and play it. I actually plan on doing a randomizer Nuzlocke of Emerald quite soon. I just have to get the program up and running before I can record it. But
it's going to be trippy as fuck.
It's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to that. But I wouldn't say there's one necessarily that jumps out for me. So I'm gonna go with Mighty Ina for that one, personally. So now we come to Gen 4, the game I feel like we all kind of skipped.
Well, wait, before we do, can I give you a run through?
Your team, please tell me.
Because I was pretty proud of this one. So I had Swampert, Breloom, Mighty Ina, Armaldo, Salamence. Wait, no, I didn't have. Did I? Wait, no, I had. Aggron was on there. Salamence was not on there, but Slacking was.
Okay.
That's what it was. But yeah, that was my 6.
So why'd you keep Mighty Ina in there for the dark moves?
For the fire.
Oh, you taught him fire.
He was a rare. I caught him a level 3 knowing Fire Fang.
What?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a
Oh,
rare
this was
thing.
an Omega Ruby.
It was.
Okay, gotcha.
So he was a rare, very rare occurrence that's the move he knew. So I raised him up to Mighty, and then that was whenever I needed a fire move, I just threw him out there, and that was the move he used.
That's not bad.
So no, that was who I stuck in there.
Dang. Okay, that's fair. I would say I figure you'd put a Salamence over a Mighty Ina just because the Mighty Ina is not going to have that great of stats.
The only problem with Salamence is you're able to access him so late in the game that it's difficult to
get him.
Yeah, because
you got to grind.
You catch a Bagon at level 38.
Yeah.
And most of the Elite Four is low 50s, getting close to 60.
Yeah, but he takes a while to level up.
He does, and he doesn't. Even when he becomes Salamence at level 50, he doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was why I have one, but I didn't put him on my team because he just wasn't good enough at the time.
Yeah, that's fair. So now we come to Gen 4, and we're going to bounce back to Connor. I'm assuming it's Infernape.
Alright, so this... Noah's always told me that Infernape is just me as a Pokemon.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
It's just like if Priesty was a Pokemon, he'd be Infernape. Like without a second thought in my mind.
Well, I'd like to think that's because, I do, rock climbing is like a general thing, but I don't know if that's the main point or the fact that I like the fire Pokemon or how his flame hair is essentially my hair. But I do really like the design of Infernape. I also like the design of Luxray, the
edgelord dog.
Well, no, he's like an electric lion, and then you got
lion, yeah, I guess.
And then you got Darkrai's pretty cool too, because I like that color scheme and the whole kind of he's like a cloud kind of dark thing. It's just I like the look of a lot of these guys. Like I said, I didn't actually play Gen 4, but I've seen them. I've played with them in things like Pokemon Showdown, like the thing we mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah, definitely. I want to play Pokemon
I
Showdown.
I swept you with a Darkrai at one point.
Fucking Darkrai's ridiculous. Well, he had that weird dream.
He had Dream Eater or something, or it was like some dark move, but it was
it was bullshit. That's all I remember because he swept my.
It's nothing nearly as bad as Swagger from Pokemon Stadium 2. That was some bullshit.
That's another series you'll
Swagger and Zap Cannon.
Yeah, that's another series you'll see coming onto my channel. It's Pokemon Stadium 2 because that game is just shenanigans. God, those are again. Go play Pokemon Stadium 2 or download Pokemon Showdown. It's free. The Showdown is, and it's really fun to just click random battle and get thrown immediately into a battle with a bunch of random Pokemon, and it's kind of like a test of your own wits.
You don't even have to download anything. You can just go online.
Yeah, you can just use the website. You don't even have to download
Just Google Pokemon Showdown, and it's right there. You make a little you just put in your name, choose which sprite you want as your person. I clearly have a guy with a fuck ton of gray hair. Because it's cool, and then
is that why?
I'm Gary in mine.
I don't know who he is. He's some old guy with a big gray beard, and he's like, "Huh." I'm like, "That's what I want to be when I'm 40."
Does he have a cape or does he have his coat on his back?
He might. I think he has rolled up sleeves. He's in all dressed fancy and stuff. I'm like, that's pretty neat. I like that.
For me, Gen 4, excluding my favorite Gen starter Torterra, because I think it'd just be awesome to kind of ride on the back of some Titan turtle.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the lion turtle from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know they wouldn't be that big, but just to be able to be I'm gonna sit back here in this little forest on top of my giant ass turtle. Is he that
big? I didn't realize he was that big.
Well, he's not. I mean, the anime depicts him differently.
Okay.
But I remember there was one fan art of him where he was really big, and it was all the little cutesy Pokemon just living on his back, and I was like, that's really cool.
So I'm picturing he's not nearly as big as like a lion turtle from Avatar.
No.
Okay.
Not like that. Well, fucking Dragonite had that one episode where he was bigger than a fucking.
Well, those were apparently the ancient Dragonites, and he was the last of them.
Are you serious?
Yeah, apparently they all got tiny. Yeah, I don't know if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, but it's the same kind of thing. They didn't let them out as much, and then they slowly got smaller.
Yeah, I suppose, but.
Well, you think about that, that'd be pretty crazy. Imagine. However long ago they have fuck ton of those Pokemon are just giant.
Well, I remember seeing that Dragonite episode and being terrified by it, and then it's Pokemon the first movie comes around and he's got his man purse and he's flying in.
The dopey little one, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just what? That's not Dragonite. He's supposed to be massive. That's what made him cool to me. Personally, I'm not a fan of Dragonite. Love Dragonair. Dragonair.
I've seen some fan arts
of dopey ass Dragonite.
I've seen some fan arts of Dragonair versions of Dragonite, where it's imagine just a inline of Dratini, Dragonair, and then what would have been Dragonite.
What could have been.
It's imagine Dragonair, except now with wings and a little bit more badass, and it's just fuck. Yeah. I would pay money for that. It looks so cool.
But as I was saying, for 4th gen, excluding Torterra, I think I'm just put my money on Rampardos. I like dinosaurs. What can I say?
He's a cool one.
He's essentially the Pachycephalosaurus, which, by the way, there's no evidence that they actually bashed heads in all the movies and film that you see them they're charging each other and bumping heads. It's okay, that's not really a thing because we don't have anything to prove that. That was
I would have assumed it was they have a thicker skull or something.
I can't think of the name of this one, but essentially there's a miniature Packy where his head had a bunch of he had a bunch of grooves. So when like there's evidence for that dinosaur where it's like, okay, they didn't necessarily bash each other, but when they connected heads and they locked in there and it was like a fight. It's like antlers on a deer.
I get
But
you.
essentially, paleontologists are like, okay, Pachycephalosaurus, they charge at each other and bash heads. There really isn't that much of their skull that's going to do anything. They're going to kill themselves when they run into each other. It's like they weren't that fucking stupid, so they're still speculating on that. But now I'm just geeking out on dinosaurs. Anthony, Gen 4, what'd you like?
So I was actually a huge Torterra fan.
Oh,
That
really?
was, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Gen 4 and 5. I really didn't care much for the starters in general.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because you either had the Blaziken ripoff. You know,
Everybody was always firefighting for like the next like 3 gens.
Yeah. Well, because that's such a great combination.
But
But
it is.
I do like the Fire Dark in the new one. I did like that.
in Gen 4, I would have to say. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna need a second. Let me go back through the. I was just looking at the Pokedex. Who the hell was it?
While you think, Connor, how'd you feel about Bert and Ernie being in, I think, Gen 5?
Wait, what?
Suck and throw.
Is that what that was?
Oh,
Well, no,
No, they
but
look like
as soon
it,
as I
yeah.
saw him, I'm like, that's Bert, that's Ernie.
No, I mean it's one of those things. Just like
From Sesame Street.
I get that they're putting in characters because they need characters, but some of them aren't great. And like, don't get me wrong, Farfetch'd in the first gen or second gen, I don't remember which, is just a bird holding like a piece of
A
leaf.
leak.
Yeah, a leak, and it's just like, don't get me wrong. There was stupid Pokemon like Ekans is snake backwards. Woo! It's like I get it. Don't get me wrong. Like I can't shit talk Gen 1 because apparently that's a terrible thing to do. But
Shit,
Really?
there's never been like there's always been that kind of thing of like there's some like that's not Pokemon. That's just a thing you saw and wanted to put in the
Right.
game.
So I think that there actually is a correct answer because of how limited Gen 4's quality Pokemon were.
Yep.
I think there's a correct answer for who your favorite should be.
And that is?
Garchomp.
Garchomp was
Oh,
fantastic.
damn, I forgot about Garchomp. He
Garchomp's-
was badass.
What was Garchomp's Mega like? I can't remember.
It was
He
That
kind
was
of
pretty
turned into a praying mantis, I think.
a really cool.
But a really
Well,
cool
he's-
land
he's-
shark.
He's a
praying
land
mantis.
shark, which is some of the.
It is
Also,
literally a
Grubbin,
land
the
shark
little.
Pokemon.
It's Grubbin.
Grubbin.
Right? I love that little guy. He's just like a little ball. Little ball of land shark.
I felt the same way about Spheal, where he was just
Spheal
literally,
is just
he was
a
just
fucking
he was
ball.
a ball with the seal's face, and I was like, that's the cutest fucking thing.
You run into it like I hate killing them, but like you're in my way.
Yeah, they were in those caves that were
Yeah.
just endless.
Yeah.
I think did we go through Gen 5 yet? Or we were on 4? Because I said Bert and Ernie were in 5.
No, we haven't.
I actually have several in here that I,
I love
like.
Gen 5.
Gen
5.
I think Gen 5 is also pretty weak, but I think for me it all starts with the starters that get you off on the right foot, and I didn't think any of the starters were good for Gen 5.
I agree. I wasn't crazy about it. I thought Samurott was dumb.
I wasn't.
He was like the
fan
final evolution of Oshawott, I think.
Yeah,
he was.
Like I liked the whole otter thing, and then I don't know. Like the artist was just like done, and it's just like, what is this? This is completely just like.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like what he was.
He's
like,
a worse looking Blastoise.
well,
A
apparently
water thing with a thing on his back.
is he bipedal?
He
like,
can be, and he stands up and uses his thing on his arm as
yeah.
a sword.
Well, like, I get
he's a
he's-
samurai.
Yeah, I get he's
Otter
supposed to be a
thing.
samurai, but like at least in my version, like his sprite was like he was on all fours. I'm like,
Well,
that's
he is. He's painted on all fours the majority
it
of the
looks,
time.
Yeah,
And then he sometimes stands up.
If he was bipedal, if he was like a Blaziken, like I'm a samurai,
Yeah.
I might like him a little bit more. But it's like, okay, so he's constantly bipedal through his evolution, and then all of a sudden he's just like, I'm getting heavier, got to use my front
Yeah.
hands now. I just thought that was dumb personally. But I really did like Sawsbuck. I thought it was cool that with the changing seasons,
That was
or depending
interesting.
what you
I
had, you
did
could
like
get
that.
different forms of him. I think it was Archeops. He was another dinosaur one, which I'm a little dinosaur biased, so I can't really say much about him. And I also really liked Bravery, the America eagle. Braviary, yeah, he was badass.
That was cool.
You're thinking of Archeops is the name of
Archeops,
that.
thank you, yes. Priesty, do you have any Gen 5ers?
I have a couple. As I said earlier about getting back into things that I did when I was younger, this was the first gen that I played since I was younger. Like I said, I skipped Gen 4.
Yeah, yeah.
So last one I had played was Gen 3, and I had not gone into any of them, knowing nothing.
Right.
So I went into this one, no idea what had happened. I bought, I think, a 2DS to play it.
Yep, same here.
And it was that thing where, I now had to, and I specifically did not look up anything about this game. I didn't look up anything while I was playing it. So I had to catch the Pokemon to learn what the hell type they were, what moves they could know. And there's all these new things, but I really did like it for the most part, just because it was that kind of rediscovery aspect.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I understand it. There's some flaws with the game, of course, but I did enjoy it. I liked things like I had a Zebra Striker. He was cool. He was like an electric zebra.
Yeah, he was badass.
Zebstrika?
Yeah, Zebstrika.
Yeah, I had what else was there? Zoroark I just love that kind of red and black color scheme.
Yeah.
The werewolf is really neat.
It was also it was kind of a cool gimmick that you could throw in competitive because he took the form of whatever random Pokemon that you
Yeah,
sent out.
it was I think it was he takes the form of whoever's either in first or last in your party. I can't remember which.
I think it was last.
Yeah, I think it's last. So if he was in last and you switched him to the front, he would just look like himself. You switched to him in a battle. I really liked Hydreigon. He just looked cool. I never played as him. But my absolute favorite from this gen was 100% Haxorus.
Okay.
I went into it's towards the end of the game, kind of like Salamence. You get him in the first form of him.
Axew.
Yeah, and then I started leveling him up. I was like, I really like this. This is really cool. And then he kept getting cooler and cooler and looking. And then I had him in how you had a couple of the 3 different typed moves, and you can give some guys the different punched moves, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. I gave him Shadow Claw, X Scissor, Dragon Claw, and then I think Dragon Dance. And it was he wrecked shit. And I loved it, and he looked so cool doing it.
Yeah, he was badass, especially his shiny form.
Yeah, and it's I just really liked the design of him. At least from you could see the back of him. He looked pretty cool.
Yeah, oh definitely.
But I really liked that, and it was fun. I haven't actually gone back and played that. I never played Black and White 2. I don't think there's much difference.
I think it was just more story. There wasn't any new Pokemon.
Okay. Well, they threw in the storyline with N.
Oh yeah.
And that was
he was in Black and White. I thought he was in the first ones.
I don't think there was a substantial part of the.
I don't think it was.
They kind of I think they kind of expanded on it in Black and White too, and there was a whole thing with Zoroark and all this other stuff.
He was such a cool Pokemon. He was wasn't he in the show or a movie or something?
He had his own movie. He was kind of like the Lucario of that phase. Wait, what gen was Lucario?
4.
Fourth gen.
Yeah.
I liked Lucario before they made him
a normal.
Movie. I thought he was a legendary, and I thought that was badass.
Too, yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, it's
the movie
Rowlet."
that came out made him look.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm not a fan of Rowlet now."
Can I make the point that in the Lucario movie, Ash dresses up as this ancient trainer, and then they had flashbacks of that ancient trainer? That ancient trainer looked like a fucking boss. He was so cool.
Oh yeah, the Lucario movie actually.
I love
that's
that
one
movie.
of the better ones.
Yeah.
It has the best opening theme of all of them. It's the I'm unbeatable theme.
Was it?
It's like a slightly altered version.
Yeah, I know
it
what you're
kicks
talking
so
about.
much ass. But
that was good.
We're almost at 2 hours. Holy shit.
This is gonna be great. Wait, can I say my Gen 5s?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to wrap it right now. I said let's hit the Gen 5s, and Gen 6 was the last one, right?
X and Y. Well, yeah, because I don't know
Because
anything
we
about
had
Sun and Moon.
I just played.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know. Let's.
Is it worth it?
5. Is it 5,
It's
6, and
different.
7
It's
now?
different,
I don't know what we're on now. 5 is X and Y, right?
No, 6 is X and Y. 5 is what we're on right now.
5 is on.
5
Okay,
is
sorry.
black and white,
Okay,
6 is X and Y.
let's do our
7
5. Let's
is
do our 5, 6, and
Sun
7, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay. So I actually agree with Zoroark and Haxorus. Those are 2 of my 3 favorites. But
there's more.
There's one more. Genesect.
I did.
Was,
yes.
Oh, okay.
The shoulder-mounted cannon.
He had a cool story behind him.
Right.
I never learned anything
So
about it.
I think essentially it was like Team Rocket took a at least this Kabutops and altered him into this machine.
He's supposed to be
man and Pokemon combination.
It's kind of similar to like the Mewtwo type of thing. Like they tried to make their own.
Yeah, definitely.
But instead, this time they went
Iron
Iron Man style.
I assume it. I don't know. What's that new typing in like the 7th gen, like Unbound and Bound or something like that? I remember there being like a weird. No. The latest gen. I remember there being like a weird
Unbound Fairy. Yeah.
Well, no, like there was like a kind of like a centaur or like a griffin looking guy, and like he had like a mask, and then it would like come off. I didn't know how.
Oh, you're talking about that's Gen 4. That's
Gen 7, like the newest one.
Oh no. Oh, the newest one. Oh yeah. That's not really a typing. That's just
it's not a typing.
It's like a phase thing.
Oh, okay.
Imagine like how you have like Deoxys and his whole like attack phase, speed phase, in like whatever game he's in.
Okay, so it's like
I think it's more of like
right.
how, but it's actually it's probably more akin to something like just like you
like
do
a mega
something.
evolution.
Yeah, like a mega evolution.
Okay,
I don't actually know. I haven't gotten that far.
Okay, that's fair. I sorry, that's like one of the few guys that I remembered. Gen 6. Any preferences?
Throw it down there.
Tyrantrum. It's a T-Rex. Fuck, it's a T-Rex. What else do you want? Tyrant was cute. Tyrant was adorable. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get you.
I remember I played as the what was it? The wizard mage fox thing.
Fennekin turned into...
Yeah, it's a fennec fox
Rexen,
into something. Yeah, something like that.
Raxbib.
I don't remember the actual name. I know Greninja was in Smash Bros. I remember him. He was pretty cool.
Greninja was tight.
But I can't remember the majority of the stuff because like there wasn't very many new things in that one.
There was only like 80, I think.
Yeah. One thing I did like was the ghost swords. I'm not gonna lie, I did actually like that because
E-slash?
Yeah.
Yeah, something
I did actually kind of like that because it was similar to the whole hack source thing. I liked it because like I got him later on. I was like, man, he's kicking ass. And then it's got like the different, defense phases, the attack pose. Well, it was like if you attack, it's gonna be an attack pose. If it's in defense, it's gonna be in a defense pose. Or something like that. It's some like pose changing thing. I think I'm probably saying it wrong, but
Yeah, it's this was.
It was pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
At least.
Anthony, do you have any preference?
Yeah, I actually really liked. What's his name? Tyrantrum's. I liked his counterpart, Aurora's.
Yeah, I did. That was
the
cool.
Brachio.
Because that was the one that I kind of blindly chose as I was playing the game, and like ice in the Elite Four in this region is like very, very useful.
Yeah.
Because of how many like dragons and flying things are utilized. So like Aurora's new Aurora Beam and.
Which is really shitty when compared to Ice Beam. I think it only does like 30 or something. I just remember having like Suicune and
it's
like
ice beam.
You think
it's one of the ice throwing beams of ice.
It's probably something similar to like, I'd say, not Thunderbolt to Thunder, but probably more like Spark to Thunderbolt. It's like that kind of thing, I think.
It's that in the middle phase. Sorry, excuse me. I didn't mean to yawn on the podcast. I don't know if you all. I didn't play 7, but I looked at them. I really liked Lycanroc, which it's like a play on word for lycanthrope, like the werewolf.
No, I remember that.
I didn't like the werewolf form. I liked the dog form, but I thought it was really weird because I thought they were ripping off a different monster from a completely different series. There used to be a TV show for it. I know it had a couple games on the side. It was called Monster Rancher. Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking
like
about.
The blue
wolf
with the guy horn in it. But I just looked it up. His species was called tigers, and that fucking pissed me off because he's a fucking wolf with horns, and they're just like, that's the tiger species, and then just like you look at the kid, you're like, really? That wolf thing's the tiger? Okay,
that's really.
It's like I'm going back to Pokemon.
You're goddamn right.
That's really funny.
And I don't know. I thought there was a couple Pokemon that I had issues with in Gen 7, like. They're cool in some ways, but like one of them that just really irks me was like the toucan, because I feel like that was super just like uninspired, like Tropical Paradise Toucan, and what the fuck was the Pokemon's name? It was like Toucan, like it's like there's no
little emphasis.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Tilde over the U. It's like come on.
No,
come on,
I
Nintendo.
know what you mean. I've been playing through it, and I don't remember any of the names, but there's this one guy. I know the original name. think it's Grubbin and Charjabug. It might be.
Oh yeah.
It's
he turns into like the little like Hercules flying electric beetle. Dude.
Yeah. And it was really cool because like I started out, he was one of the first Pokemon I caught, and I was like, oh cool, bug and electric. A lot of why like I choose some Pokemon is either how they look and how they're typed. And like I liked the typing. I didn't really care about the look because it was early on. And then he evolved into this thing called Charjabug, and he was essentially a box. Imagine like the little box outlet thing. And I was like leveling him up until like 36. I'm like, man, when does he evolve? So I finally looked up when he evolves, and it's like you can only evolve him in a certain spot, which I had just gotten to recently, and he's now like flying. He's now like I think he's got levitate now, so he's electric, has levitate in his bug, so ground doesn't matter, which takes out a big negative to him.
Yeah.
And he's been higher level than my starter for a bit now because he's been
kicking ass.
Oh, he has been fantastic. I love him.
I was like, the starters were okay in that generation. I wasn't crazy about them.
I did like Greninja, but the rest of them were...
Anything in the Sun and Moon series that you liked?
I could not name a Pokemon.
You know what? That's fair. Maybe you'll get to that. Like I said, I want to play.
I do want to play
games.
through it. I just haven't been able to make the time and
money and
yeah.
etc. It's understandable. Like
yeah.
I mean, fuck, they're coming out with Sun and Moon 2. I'm assuming there's going to be
already.
More. Oh yeah, they announced that at E3. There's going to be more megas, and I'm assuming there's going to be more megas. Essentially, like there was never a Z, was there? There was an X and Y, right?
No, I feel like there should have been a.
I thought they
Z.
were setting it up because
they have Zygarde is the third.
Well, there's Zygarde stuff in Sun and Moon.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it really?
Like, he has like a dog form, and he has like...
I have that currently.
He has a dog form and like this really big Titan form.
So, all right.
So what happened to the snake?
That's the thing. So,
he's like a shapeshifter?
No. The way it's set up is you are collecting... You have this thing called a Zygarde Cube. They're like, oh, you found a Zygarde Cube. That's crazy. I didn't know those things still existed. And you're looking around, and you see a little sparkle somewhere. You walk up to it, you click A. It's like you just... whatever, this organism just got sucked into the Zygarde Cube, and it's like either a Zygarde cell or a Zygarde core. And if you have enough cells, you can either get, there's like 50 of them or something like that, or 100, I don't even know. But if you get enough, you can get the 10% form, which is the dog.
Yeah,
the 50%
looks like a
form,
Doberman.
The 50% form, which is the snake, and then the perfect form, which is this big Titan thing.
Kind of looks like a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Megazord looking thing.
Legitimately, it looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. To me, it looks pretty cool.
I like the dog one,
people
obviously.
I'm sure some people it's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. To me, I'm like, it's pretty neat because the way the Zygarde cells and cores work is the more cells you get, the more forms you can choose.
Yeah.
The cores you can get. Are you looking at it now?
I'm about it.
Yeah. So
I am definitely about it.
Anthony just looked up the picture of it. Is it the perfect form or the dog form?
Really, all of them.
It's honestly, I'm
looking at his perfect form, and holy shit.
So the cores, the way they work is if you find a core, it's essentially like a TM for Zygarde. You can teach him a special move that only he can learn. So it's like Core Defender is one move, and all these like hexagons like spew out of you in like a wave format kind of thing. Like imagine like a teardrop, but it's like an earth type, ground type move.
That sounds awesome.
And it's legitimately super cool so far, and I gotta get back to playing this.
Well, I know at least for the second Sun and Moon game, I kind of want to say they're going to incorporate Zygarde because like there really wasn't. It doesn't feel like there was a lot of story behind him. I think there might be a show. I think there's a movie kind of about him, but I'm assuming what they're doing now with the new Sun and Moon, which is like I think the gimmick with that one was like there was like different dimensional Pokemon in a weird sense.
They're like I think they're called Ultra Beasts.
Yeah, Ultra Beasts, which whatever, I guess they're not Pokemon.
Well, they're Zoids, actually.
Some of them look like it.
So, for people who don't know what Zoids are...
No, but like there's like...
So think Transformers, but you have a guy in there and they walk on all fours.
Yeah, but like, so like, it's like a Gundam, which is like a Transformer, which is like a Zoid, except it's standing up.
I give up. But like, there was like the black...
But wait, there's more!
The black diamond-y one. I don't know what his name was.
The Zoid? I don't either.
No, the fucking Sun and Moon Pokemon. They're taking him and they're slapping him onto the bat and the lion.
Wait,
and
which
like,
one?
Oh, you're talking about the little...
The two legendaries for Sun and Moon.
It's Cosmog. I think you're talking about Cosmog.
No. There's like a black, diamondy, like weird interdimensional. He's probably at the bottom of the
I'm
list.
almost
If you
positive
look up.
this is Cosmog, except in a different form.
Are you talking about the bat?
No, I'm talking. Hold on, listeners. We're gonna look up this fucking Pokemon.
I'm checking this shit out. I swear to God, I know what this is.
It's not Cosmog. It's Necrozma. Necrozma. Yes.
What the fuck is this shit?
He's number 300 on the Pokemon list. They're taking him and they're combining him with the lion and the bat, and that's what Sun and Moon 2
That thing?
is. No, this thing right here. Keep going down. Keep scrolling down. I don't even think...
That thing?
That thing right there.
I've
Yes.
never even seen that.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's one of the
Ultra
beasts or whatever.
Yeah,
But
Ultra Beasts,
I'm really
yeah.
interested to see what they're doing, because at first glance, when they're just like, they showed the titles and like I recognized it was him just slapped onto the other Pokemon. I'm like, all right, like let's not get too Digimon. Like I know everyone was
I
like,
don't think I've seen him anywhere on any other Pokemon ever. I don't even know.
well,
It's probably also just a heads up. It's probably me not being that far. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's like I don't know. I think it'd be really cool to have him combined to these two legendaries and then like incorporate Zygarde in some way to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be badass, but I don't know. That's just speculation. I think it's gonna be a while before number 2 comes out anyway. So
I've had that problem for God knows how long.
you don't get me started. Oh my God. There's been some long nights at the cabin, heaved over in pain. It's also terrifying just shitting in a hole when you know something's in the hole. Crickets, snakes, bats.
Never you have all that stuff in your... Oh, never mind.
What?
You said, you're shitting and there's something in the hole. I just assumed.
Okay. Okay, well, guys, for those that stuck it out for this 2-hour podcast, Jesus Christ, oh, my dogs are going crazy. They're probably pooping everywhere, so we're gonna wrap this up quick.
Good for
And
them.
I would like to say hello to 48 hours from now, Anthony, driving in the car. I hope you enjoyed this. Congratulations to Matt Colatrulio on his first day of medical school, and go Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes, and hi Noah in the future if you ever listen to this. Connor, you want to say hi to yourself?
R.I.P. Billy Mays!
Rest in peace, Billy Nays. We'll
Damn, the one person who could never listen to this podcast.
I don't even know if this is
We
going
could give him shit all the day.
I don't even know if this will be uploaded on a Thursday because I've never tried to upload a 2-hour podcast. So we'll see how long this takes to get on, but maybe we'll squeak it in before midnight. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.